Hey there, you spooky, sexy, lovely lurkers. Welcome to your Saturday review. Today, the scariest shows of all time, the scariest games of all time, and the scariest movies of all time.
Sounds like we've got more blurry pictures of Bigfoot. So let's lurk!
Scott, didn't you wear this on Thursday?
Yeah, I slept in it, showered in it, shat in it.
Nice. Hey, what is the right combination? You get a hot dog. What's the right combination of ketchup and mustard?
Left channel mustard, right channel ketchup.
You're 50-50?
I like a 50-50. Or, you do the swirl thing. Do the little DNA helix, if you will.
So you're not going to imbalance it? I would say growing up, I was probably like 100% ketchup. In my teens, it was probably like 90-10. You know where I'm at today?
All mustard.
I can go 100% mustard.
It's got that tang. You probably didn't like it as a child because maybe you had a sweet tooth, but yeah. It just matches. It's a nice combination.
I've experienced some shit.
Listen, ketchup and mustard go together. Just like spoopy season and scary media. Now today, we've got some lists here of the best shows, best games, and best movies that will squeeze the ketchup and mustard out of you. From both ends.
Little pot of cum. Can I just say, we need to, each of us has to pick a movie on this list that one of the other person has to watch. So instead of me picking a movie for me, Scott.
We don't have to do that. We could do it the other way where we just pick a movie and we talk about how it scared us as a child and how we maybe wet our bed a little bit too long.
Listen, Scott. Last year, during March Madness, you made me spend $200 on buffalo wings. The amount of driving, the amount of pain my butthole felt from that thing, you can watch one fucking scary movie, okay?
You should have recorded that. It would have showed up on this list.
Listen, it can be a movie, a show, or a game. One of them.
Why do you want to do this? Like, the psychological horror I will experience is going to make it so that I won't record the show anymore.
I want to endure you to the reality of what life is in 10 years. Don't ask me why 10 years.
Okay. All right. Well, let's start with shows. Two scary shows. Oh, God. I have to pick a show for you?
We don't have... No, we'll do it at the end. Lurkers. Just at the end of the episode... Each of us is going to pick something for the other person. Don't hit skip. Listen to the shows. Now, Scott, I have seen a few of these shows. Growing up, tell me, come on. Agree with me that you watched Are You Afraid of the Dark?
What is that? What
you don't know what this is?
Is it those scary books made into
It's not Goosebumps. It's not Goosebumps.
No. Like the black and white and a little bit of color books with all the wispy, scary drawings and like the bloody fingers and all those.
Yes, it could have been No, it's not. It's not those scary stories to tell in the dark.
Yeah.
Are You Afraid of the Dark is a TV show that existed on Nick at Night, like Saturday night Nickelodeon.
Okay, well, no, I
And
never watched
it. Starts with
never had Nickelodeon.
Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. I call this story the tale of fingering Connie in the background.
Oh, if that's the kind of stuff, yeah, like I'll watch that.
Yeah. There was a lot of nudity on Nickelodeon on Saturdays.
I was really missing out. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to add to this list something that is probably one of the most talked about in terms of historical spooky weird stuff. Did you ever watch Twin Peaks?
No. When did Twin Peaks start?
Twin Peaks came out in 1990 to 1991, and then they had a small little revisit in 2017.
No, I think I probably stopped watching scary shows by then.
Okay.
I'm not. You and I are kind of little wusses here. We're not necessarily a big fan of scary shows.
I'm a tall bottle of wuss. Wuss up.
Back in your most important years, did you watch Tales from the Crypt?
So brave little me from back in the day would want to stay up and watch Star Trek: The Next Generation. Well, that was like probably like the 10 into 11 o'clock show. But as soon as that clock hit 11, I think Tales from the Crypt was always a 30-minute show. So there was something right after. It might have been like The Outer Limits. So it's like a little weird sci-fi, but still sci-fi. And I'm like, I can watch this. I can get with this. And then I'm like, okay, well, it's Friday. I'm going to stay up and keep watching TV. I don't need to go to school tomorrow. Well, after that is Tales from the Crypt. And I was like, well, what can this be? Then that skeleton bro pops up out of his fucking coffin, and he's laughing and talking like, and he's like, I'm going to tell you a story. It's like Elmo died, rotted, and has come back thinking that Sesame Street is dead and gone, and now all he wants to do is scare us, make us toss our cookies.
Dude, I just imagine Scott sick, like I know I'm sick, Mom. I know I'm sick. I'm gonna watch Star Trek, and he just like passes out halfway through, and he wakes up to that scream, and just
It sucked so much, and I don't know why. I told myself when I was younger, I'm like, this is how I feel alive. This is a test of my bravery. Not realizing the mental anguish I was causing myself for the next decade. Oh, I was so stupid, Willie. I watched so many scary things.
Now, can I just ask, because there's a lot of shows on this list that I'm not sure I would necessarily consider like scariest shows of all time.
Mm-hmm.
One specific one stands out to me. Did you watch the show Black Mirror? Like, I know it started in 2011 and it's still happening now.
A couple of them. I've watched a couple of them, but they're like really intense and make you feel very bad, not only about yourself, but about society. And I know that's the commentary. But at the same time, it's like, I'll watch a Black Mirror episode, I'll turn it off, and then I'll go look outside, and it's like, oh, it's still going. It's still happening.
Oh, it's just reality.
We're just living
It's a little too close to home. Yeah. I think my favorite show on this list, a show that like I've seen every single season at least twice. I'll get through I'll get through the full season and then I'll rewatch it.
Buffy.
Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm surprised it's on this list because I don't think that's really scary or horrifying. Maybe it is for some people. But that's like saying the X-Files was really scary. And it was spooky. But
the X-Files is on this list, man. The X-Files is number 4.
And Buffy the Vampire Slayer? One of my favorite shows of all time is on this list. And Supernatural. Supernatural came in at number 12. And holy cow.
I've never seen that show, and that thing's been on for 14 years.
It was. It made it 14 years, and some of those years didn't probably need to be made, but still, it was like worth because you've invested in the characters. That's the thing the show does so well. It makes you fall in love with these two brothers and their relationship and all of the side characters. Like, if we just had to pick right now, Willie, I would say you have to watch all 14 seasons of Supernatural.
Hold on. Let's do a quick search. How many hours of television is this?
14. Each season maybe had anywhere from 20 to maybe 12. I think it tapered off near the end.
You're an asshole. This is 8.5 days straight.
That's if you never went to sleep. At which point you would become supernatural yourself.
204 episodes.
I'm probably going to pick this show for you and just make you watch the first season because that was the scariest, but it also hooks you. And then we're going to see what team you're on, whether you're a Dean or you're a Sam.
Lurkers, go in the comments. Let us know what was your favorite scary show of all time. I think it's now time to move to games. Scott, have you played any scary games over the years?
I have definitely watched my friends play a lot of scary games. The only one that is on this list that I have played maybe more than 5 minutes of is BioShock.
Is that really that scary?
It's got a lot of jump scares.
Okay.
But the rest of these terrifying Fallout 3. No, Fallout 3 is a scary game, I guess, on this list.
Is it?
I guess. I don't know. Once again, I think it's more jump scares. But everything else, I have played none of it. I never want to play any of them.
Dude, okay, so I want to walk you through my childhood. My sister, she's your age, 5 years older than me, and I really looked up to her growing up. Well, her boyfriend at the time, husband now, was like 4 years older than her. So imagine there's this guy, he's 9 years older than me, and he represents that like older brother figure to me.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I would go to his house, and this was like my first kind of like interaction of like watching somebody play a video game, sitting in the same room and finding joy. The same way like people watch people play Twitch, right? And so we would sit in his basement, lights off, silent, while he played Resident Evil.
Dude, those games are so scary.
And like one of the like, or Silent Hill, he played that game a lot.
Those games were worse.
The thing about these games that like I just loved growing up is that the camera would focus the character to look in a direction, like it's third person, but it's like camera focused. So you didn't necessarily get to see what was behind you or what was in front of you. And when the camera finally revealed, dude, it was so fun.
That's the thing that pissed me off the most about those games too, because I was used to a free-flowing either first-person or third-person view, and it just locked you in that, I don't know, almost like one-third person where you're just on one side of the screen and you only get to see 2/3 of the rest. There's probably some word for it that everybody who plays video games is yelling at the radio right now. But
True.
I wish it would have let me have a little bit more control, and then it wouldn't have been so scary. Then I might have played it.
I remember maybe like a few years back, one of my favorite streamers, King Gothalion, I watched his entire playthrough of Resident Evil 7. It's a game that came out in 2017, so imagine like all the Resident Evil things that you'd expect, but like on a modern engine. Man, that was scary. That was so fun to watch. Have you like, I know I sent you that TikTok clip of those people playing like those jump scare type games. Is that a type of game you'd ever play?
No, Willie, I would not. I would never play those. I would say that it's all because of my imagination. My imagination runs wild, and my subconscious at night just says, Scott, I know you're frozen, paralyzed now in your dream state, so what I'm going to do is just review a few things from either the day or the week. And I just want you to sit there and, on a scale of 0 to yellow sheets, tell me how you think about this. Tell me what you think. I can't have this stuff in my brain. I don't even like watching YouTube clips of other people playing it. It's too much.
Well, you might have one of these games on your list of things to play, like Until Dawn.
I think I'm just gonna throw my Xbox away. I think I'm just gonna throw it in the garbage and not have any screens. I'm gonna go live in those scary woods with the Mothman. Just be like, hey, let's go. Let's just do this. Me and you. Have you played any of these games? Have you played
No.
something like The
No.
Evil Within?
Never.
I have no mouth, I must scream. What the shit is that?
There's like a different breed of people that like to play this game. Like, I feel like they exist solely for like a live stream audience. There's no reason that anybody wants to turn the lights off in their room and play a game like this.
There is one game on this list that I would play, I guess. And that would be Alien Isolation. Because I like that franchise. I like the way that they approach this, like you're in the movie. Even though the movie was scary, I have a lot of respect for it, just like, and everything that has spawned since maybe is not great, but like those first two movies were really cool. Something I definitely will not play is the PT game, mostly because I don't have a PlayStation, and it doesn't exist anymore. But that
I don't know what this game is.
it was basically a preview of the next Silent Hill that Kojima was working on,
Okay.
and Guillermo del Toro was involved.
For a video game?
Mm-hmm. They went on to work. What's that movie? What was that game they just did? They made Death Stranding. So like they had to change everything after this was taken away. But essentially, you were just in this house and you had to try and figure out the riddle, and it was timer based as well. But you're just like walking around in circles doing the same thing over and over again, opening up doors, looking for things, and then those jump scares started happening near the end, and like ghosts and like screaming. I don't like it. I don't want to even talk about it.
I don't wanna do it.
Let's move on to movies.
Listen, let's talk a little bit about movies. The list that you sent me, which is from a website called Collider. Guys, if you're not aware, grow up. It's got 20 of the scariest movies of all time. I'm going to be honest with you, Scott. I'm not sure I recognized more than 2, maybe 3.
Really? I've read more horror movies than I have ever seen.
That's not how you consume that.
That's how I consume it. I've got to agree with you that yes, there are some obscure ones on here, but I've definitely read many lists that say these are like some of the top 10 scariest movies of all time, and like some of them have even crossed the line for people thinking like, is this really happening? Did the director cross that line and somehow get it onto film?
Mm-hmm.
I have never heard of August Underground, but that supposedly is the scariest movie of all time because it's an exploitation
It's on this
film.
list?
Yeah.
What's it about?
Serial killers, murders, killing and torturing. Did you ever remember the movie Natural Born Killers? It was
No.
It's really old, but like I remember when that came out, people were saying like, "This is awful. Like this should be rated X. It should not be in theaters." Granted, this is back when they had to put explicit lyrics on all CDs, so
Right.
so things were just a little different then. I have heard of a Serbian film. I have heard of 120 Days in Sodom. Cannibal Holocaust, me being a child of the 80s, it's one of those films where people thought it was real because it was so well shot and so horrifying for anything else comparatively at the time. You have to remember, folks, like back in the day, when it came to media, things were very conservative. It was like
It's true.
cookie cutter stuff. Anything outside of the fluff, you were like, okay, what's happening? How is this gonna... Somebody please think about the children. Did you see the Human Centipede?
I'm going to go to our... I've never seen it, but that's one because I'm afraid of centipedes. So even if it's a human, just the idea of it. What I will tell you, though, is I think Rotten Tomatoes has maybe a better list.
Okay. Send that to me. Send it!
This is Rotten Tomatoes 10 scariest horror movies ever.
Oh, man.
I know. Number 10 is the 2017 rendition of It.
Oh, I see number 9 is my favorite movie.
Insidious. Number 8 on this list is Insidious, which I've never seen this movie,
Sinister.
and I didn't know Ethan Hawke was still making movies.
Sinister.
What did I say? Insidious?
You said it again.
Sinister?
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 7 is the 1978 Halloween. I think that's worth it. Number 6 is my
I remember.
favorite. It's my favorite.
Okay, let me tell you the story about The Ring. My family had no idea what this movie was. Zero. We thought it was like a suspenseful movie. We thought it was going to be similar to like watching like The Sixth Sense or Signs.
The
right, where
trailer?
it's like a little suspenseful. Not
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And so we go to Blockbuster. We rent this. We go home. We're all sitting in the living room watching. My mom...
Your poor mom.
Like the first like 30 seconds you see that like face, that dead decrepit face in like the closet, was like, I'm done. I'll make you popcorn.
Dude. I think I've told the story like way back in year 1, but it's worth repeating. I saw the trailer for this. It did not sell the movie very well. It said this is going to be a scary movie, but that's about it. Suspense. Thriller.
Yep.
Tops. I had to work the night that it opened. My roommates at the time, my buddies, they went and saw it. By the time I got home, they were already asleep. Woke up the next day, my day off. I'm like, hey guys, how was it? They're doing what Willie's doing right now, where basically they were just like curled up in a ball on the couch, and we're like, Scott, I kid you not, we weren't expecting that. It's one of the most horrifying things we have ever seen. And I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, I don't want to talk about it. I can't even talk about it. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't talk about it? Like, I don't understand. They're like, you just have to see it. And I'm like, okay, would you go see it again with me? And they're like, yeah, sure. You know, like we're just dumbass college kids. So buy tickets. Go to the 7 p.m. show. I sit in the middle of them. Silly little trailers, you know, nothing fancy. Lights turn off. I'm just sitting there like, okay, how bad can this really be? I turn to my left. My buddy's wearing a hoodie. He puts it over his face and pulls the drawstrings. I turn to my right. My buddy's wearing a sweater. He pulls it up over his face. And I'm like, what's about to happen? And lo and behold, like you said, for people who haven't seen The Ring, you know, it came out in 2002. So, spoiler alert. There was nothing that could prepare me for what that human body looked like when they opened up the closet.
Dude.
And then it was gone. Like, it was just a brief 5-second, like, ah! And then you're just like, I have no pee in me anymore. The seat is soaked. And then you're thinking like, okay, well, now we know what we're getting into. Things get kind of scary, supernatural. They do it again. They show you another twisted human frame with like all of the ah. And the next thing you know, like I have no poop in me. Like everything is out on this movie theater floor.
Okay, can I just share with you that like I'm sitting in a chair in my living room and it's like got like cold leather It wasn't nice. It was like a hand-me-down chair and like a wooden arm. And I'm sitting there. We're watching this movie. And the moment that fucking arm just goes clink, clink, out of the TV, and then the other one comes out, all I thought in my head was, what am I doing? Why are we here? What is happening? I looked away from the TV and out the window. And I'm like, there's trees. It's beautiful. Everything is fine. The world is fine. Nothing is happening on this TV. I'm not going to die. I'm going to die. Everything is terrible. Why am I doing this?
And then this movie commits the mortal sin of giving you hope. At the end, she takes the girl into the well and thinks like, all right, this is your body can go free. You're free. And she like dissolves into the water. And you're like, oh, at least this is going to end on a happy note. Maybe they'll walk off into the sunset like traumatized by the experience like the rest of us, but at least the horror is over. No. And then that spawned a sequel that wasn't that good. Did you see the sequel, The Ring 2? You didn't have to.
Probably, but I don't think it was very eventful.
No, it wasn't memorable.
The important thing, though, is I think we've both realized, Scott, we're going to revisit The Ring.
Blah. No.
Together.
Okay. Why?
Lights off. Lights off in your basement. You ready? You ready for this?
I'm in my basement.
But we're going to do it together.
You know how I think this will be okay to watch? Because VCRs don't exist anymore. That's the one thing they did wrong with this. Is like, let's pick a medium that isn't going to exist anymore.
Oh, with that, lovely lurkers, enjoy your spoopy season, because guess what? Thanksgiving is just around the corner. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this weekend. Please rate and review. Tell a friend. Tell them to come watch the show. Tell us what you think.
Because we love you. And we really do want to make this show better for you. So, remember, let's be kind to one another, and we will see you